It's just not something that I feel like I want to celebrate. And there are certain things that we can just give to the world. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Rest and the Run podcast. I'm your host, Charlesia Emilia, and I'm really excited to be back with you today. So, usually I kind of get into topics that are more, I guess, dear toward my life, but I think that this actually does kind of lock into the territory of current 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 discussions as well as my life. Now, I've been seeing a lot of discussions on social media regarding celebrating Halloween and such. And in the Caribbean, we didn't really tend to celebrate Halloween. I know that at the end of not even on Halloween itself, but like I think this October 31st and November 1st, or November 1st and November 2nd. I can't remember. But I always knew it was like, All Saints and All Souls Day. And I grew up where, people would go into the cemetery and they would light candles and all this kind of stuff. This is the tradition that I knew growing up. And as, you get older, we became more Americanized in the Caribbean. Now you're celebrating Halloween. And growing up, I was always, I don't want to say on the macabre side, but I was always somebody that kind of like appreciated, like, understanding like the darker elements of things and whatnot. And whether I was practicing it or just observing it, there were a lot of different parts of I guess, my character that kind of led me more into becoming um a spooky girly. I'm more like a muted, acquired taste. Now, when it comes to the celebration of Halloween in itself, I used to dress up and I would do my thing here and there. And, again, we became more Americanized and this became a celebration. When I became Christian now, this is not my first Halloween. This is actually my second Halloween. But last year, I felt that zero need to celebrate at all. I'm not as focused on it as much as I used to be. Also, I'm not in an industry where I'm forced to celebrate. I was really forced to have to like do stuff like write about Halloween all the time. And I got to come up with like, Halloween covers and things that are like, in that nature. And I don't have to feel like I have to perform for my job in order for and to, like, support Halloween in order for me to get to somewhere, you know? Being in a space where I don't have to do any of these things, I can just be myself and I can kind of just ignore the day. I'm in a place where I'm now trying to understand, okay, what parts of my life am I keeping versus what parts of my life am I holding on to? There's certain things I will still do. I probably still watch a scary movie, but I'm also much more alert to a lot of things that I was before. So before I would just like watch a scary movie and I'm completely immersed. Now I watch a scary movie and if I'm being honest, I don't enjoy it as much because a lot in the back of my mind, I'm like, like this, like there's so much. There's so much commentary that goes into my brain when I'm watching these movies and I'm like kind of like alert to certain things that I'm seeing and all this kind of stuff. So it doesn't hold as well as it used to when I was younger, or when I was in the world and I was into these things. Um, but I will say, as far as being somebody who doesn't celebrate Halloween anymore and but also somebody who's now trying to figure out what parts of myself do I still enjoy versus what parts of myself am I just like I'm good with leaving. Um Halloween is one of those things. I don't think it's necessary for me to celebrate because I think that that was a darker time in my life and personally, I don't know what anybody else has to say about it, how anybody else experiences it. It's just not something that I feel like I want to celebrate. And there are certain things that we can just give to the world. I understand maybe you want to celebrate fall and it's like a cute something and your kids want to like experience certain things and I think that that's up to you. I think that that should be your personal conviction. I think that it's not necessary for me to police the Christians who want to celebrate Halloween. I'm not gonna lie, personally, again, as somebody who was really into a lot of other, alternative things, I understand the darkness behind Halloween. Whether it may have started as that or not, it has been co-opted by, a lot of not so great forces. The principalities got that one. So it's not necessary for me to really get into the celebration of it. There are certain parts of your life that you don't have to constantly ask somebody, is it right to do it? Because there's two reasons. One, you have a desire to do it. If you're asking about it, you have a desire. You want to do it. If you are asking about it and questioning if it's a sin or not, perhaps that's something that you need to now start to work on. Again, personally, I've seen a few things in my life where I don't feel like I want to celebrate Halloween. I don't feel like that's something that I want to do. I don't mind watching a spooky movie here and there, but I don't feel the need to like add my enthusiasm for the day or my energy into that space. It's not something that I really feel like is necessary for me to do. Also, it's just I just feel like if you need to start asking if it's a sin or not, you need to now sit with it with the Lord. Asking this one and asking that one and looking to see who's celebrating, who's not celebrating, so that you can justify if it's okay. It's a little too much of like I don't want to say lukewarm because your walk is your walk. That's up to you. But it's giving like I want to celebrate it, but I just need to know if it's a sin first. And if you have to ask if it's a sin, it probably is something that is convicting you. And you're probably not you know, is it a sin? Because if it didn't feel like a sin, you would just do it. You'd set out your little pumpkins and you do your whole like skeleton thing and you'd be fine with it. But seeing as you have to ask if it's a sin, perhaps let's just put it down. See how you feel, passing the holiday this time around. And then maybe get into it another time. But really and truly, again, as somebody who was more into like the darker side of things, perhaps leave it alone because it's not necessary. Just the fact that you have to keep asking, is it a sin? Just leave it alone. It's not necessary. Like, why are you now creating additional division in your spirit so that you can celebrate a holiday that has been co opted by quote unquote evil? I don't know. I don't know. I could be wrong. Um, but again, this is my opinion, and I'm not side eyeing any Christian that decides that they want to celebrate Halloween. Everybody's salvation is their own. You need to work out your salvation with fear and trembling, and you deal with that. Um, as far as everything else, like I don't need a witch online or an ex witch online to tell me, "Hey, this is evil." If it felt like I was kind of communing with evil when I was doing it, I'm not gonna do it. Meanwhile, if it was just something harmless, if it was just something innocent, and I didn't have strong convictions about it myself, I'd just be like, okay, fine, no problem. Like I like a little pumpkin here and a little bit like if it's just for like the commercialization of it, also, why? Why we lean into consumerism as Christians? Like these are things. Like these are my questions. I have questions. Like I have genuine questions because consumerism in itself is not inherently Christian. So why are we stressed? Why are we stressed? I would say if you are still questioning if you should or if you shouldn't, take it to God. Pray about it. Fast about it. All of these things. Outside of that, everything else is it's kind of Whether it's clearly defined or not clearly defined in the Bible, personal something. Anyway, thank you so much for keeping it locked with me. I appreciate your attention. This has been the Rest and the Run podcast, and I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe.